Hello, everyone. Welcome to Teachly University. Great seeing all of you. And in this lecture today, we're going to be discussing Millionaire Secrets Revealed. I think we're going to be discussing the book, The Millionaire Next Door, and The Millionaire Mind, to really develop an insight on how it is that the wealthy think differently from everybody else. And I think some of the insights we're going to be learning today, I think can really help us developing that mindset that can help us think differently and help us improve our financial standing. I think that's, money is one of the most emotional topics that people discuss and think about. People like to earn more of it, but don't know how. It could be a very frustrating topic. But I think to kind of to start it off, I think that the important thing we have to look at with money is that money is simply a tool. That's really all it is. It's a side effect of the value that we provide society. And more importantly, as we'll learn throughout this lecture, it's really a side effect of the way that you think. And that's how I want to start with today's lecture from the Millionaire Next Door, where one of the reasons that millionaires are economically successful is that they think differently. So have met a lot of very successful entrepreneurs, exited founders that have sold their companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, working in this space. And I've noticed that in meeting a lot of them, different personalities, right? Different industries they've worked in. Well, the common theme that I've noticed with a lot of these folks is that they think a certain way. They're not pessimistic. They're not individuals that I think look at the world by focusing on their problems, but rather these are folks that have confidence in themselves. They have a calm demeanor and just know how to be able to get things done. They look at every problem as an opportunity. And most importantly, I believe that their ideas and the thoughts that they think about most of the time is about how to be able to create abundance, not just financial abundance, but abundance in almost every aspect of their life. And they're willing, and then most importantly, they have persistence and patience. And patience is a huge, huge problem today, I think, for a lot of folks. And I think Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm sure many of you have listened to, and I've followed him for a number of years, he stresses a lot. It's about patience. We want things right now. And I think in an entrepreneurial endeavor, it takes time. But I think that today, it's never been easier to promote and grow your business now, thanks to social media and AI and other platforms and technologies. Again, going back to what I'm saying, though, it's about thinking a certain way. And I think the wealthy and millionaires think differently than most other folks. So now, if you want to change the fruits, you will first have to change the roots. If you want to change the visible, you must first change the invisible. The number one reason most people don't get what they want is that they don't know what they want. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Uh, Fantastic insights here. And let's start with this idea that if you want to change the visible, you must first change the invisible. So I've talked about this in many of my lectures, discussing Dr. Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard, Wallace D. Waddles. Uh, it's in order, there's a common theme here. In order to change what's going on in your external environment, you must change what's going on inside your own mind. What are you thinking about most of the time? And if you're thinking about thoughts of poverty, thoughts of doubt, thoughts of fear, uh, these self limiting beliefs about yourself, then chances are you're not going to be able to achieve the abundance that you would like to achieve. And I think it's not just about wealth, but any other aspect of your life. Your external environment is not going to change unless you change what's going on inside of you, inside of your mind. Okay. So that's what I think uh, T. Harv Eker was talking about here, that if you want to change the visible, your external environment, you must first change the invisible, which is what's going on in your own mind. So the visible world is a mirror of the invisible, what is going on in your own brain, what's going on in there, your thoughts, thought processes, your ideas, what are you choosing to focus on? So if we want to change our external world, it requires going within and changing what's going on within our own minds. And that is, I think, one of the hardest things for us to do, because, and it's so important, because you can be as busy as you want, you can have the best marketing strategy, the best business model, the best product. But if you don't change your thought processes, what's going on in your own mind, then chances are you're going to struggle and you won't get the kind of results that you want. So let's go then reflect on the second quote by T. Harv Eker, when he talks about that the number one reason most people don't get what they want is that they don't know what they want. There's a lot of truth to this, because I think for a lot of us, we don't really know what it is that we want. And I would even challenge this quote by saying perhaps maybe we do know what we want, but we don't believe that it's possible. So I think I would dare you now in this lecture to start believing that what you want is possible. If you want to just earn a lot of money, if that's one of the things you want in life, then be honest with yourself about that. But do realize that money is simply a side effect, and money alone will not bring us true happiness. The wealth that I'm talking about is not just financial or material; it's spiritual. It's what's within us. Because what we really are after is not so much money or material possessions. It's to change and become the person we've always wanted to be. Again, what Abraham Maslow talks about in self-actualization, that pyramid of the hierarchy of needs, to be our authentic selves. And I think when we become our authentic selves, then our lives magically change for the better, including our financial situation. But I think going back to what I've been discussing here with this concept of not knowing what you want. If you don't know what you want, then you really have no aim to shoot for. So as Neville talked about, and actually the last lecture I did on Neville Goddard, and I'll add the link to this lecture, it is the importance of knowing what it is you want and having desire, the desire of what it is that you seek. And when you have that desire and you believe the wish fulfilled and knowing what it is that you want and feeling as if it's already here now in the present moment, I think that's when magic happens. So in here, T.R. Ecker says that you are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Lots to digest here. So, when he talks about there's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Again, this goes back to what I'm saying about not being our authentic selves. If we try to conform to the world around us, then chances are we will never be able to achieve the abundance we want to achieve. We shouldn't try to be like everybody else. We should try to be our authentic selves and be honest with ourselves with what it is that we want. By feeling insecure, that means we create doubt with self doubt, fear, hesitation. We second guess our ideas. And that is not a very good combination in business and in entrepreneurship and achieving wealth. It's about having confidence in yourself and being willing to stand out from the crowd, and even face ridicule at times. A good example is going on social media and putting out posts that maybe not everyone's going to like and facing criticism. But that criticism is part of the process, and you rise above that. And again, to further dissect here what T.R. Ecker is talking about when he says we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. So again, going back to what God symbolizes, infinite intelligence, the universe, whatever you want to call it, even if you don't necessarily subscribe or religious for that to God or religion for that matter, if you're not religious, it's believing that you have the ability to be unlimited, that you have the power within you to be able to overcome and transcend and be godlike. Okay. So whether you subscribe to God or not, okay, I use God in multiple ways. If you are religious and you believe in a higher power, it's viewing God as a higher intelligence, an infinite intelligence that if you become aware of and tap into and impress upon this intelligence who you really are and what it is that you desire, then I believe that is where our external world begins to change because of the invisible, what's going on in our own minds. And if you don't subscribe to God, if you're not religious, then it's believing that you have unlimited power within you to change. And then we do this and we liberate ourselves from our own fears and self-limiting beliefs. And we also do this, when this happens, then we liberate others in the process, because I believe when we improve ourselves, we have the potential to make a positive impact to those around us. Just realize that no amount of money can ever make you good enough. Money can make you something you already are. Okay. This reminds me of the book by David Hawkins, Letting Go, when he discusses how the importance of letting go of our self-limiting beliefs, our fears, and to simply become what it is that we seek. Neville talks about this, Dr. Joseph Murphy, a lot of others, writers and authors in this space of personal development in spirituality, where you become what you seek. You already have everything that you need right now. And I look, and again, I've met also a lot of folks that have a lot of money, but sometimes have struggled with their own confidence in themselves. So again, money's not going to make you necessarily good enough. You already have to believe that you're good enough right now, regardless of how much money you have in your bank account. And once you discover this and you realize it's not really money that you were after, it is changing and becoming who you really are. And then once you believe in yourself and you become the better version of yourself, then that's when I believe that magic happens and abundance happens and it is brought forth into our lives. So here's a wealth principle that I think caught my attention from T. Harv Ecker's book. When the subconscious mind must choose between deeply rooted emotions and logic, emotions will almost always win. We are emotional creatures. And we can think all the positive thoughts that we want, but if deep down subconsciously we don't believe in them, then it won't change these deeply rooted emotions and these self-limiting beliefs that we've held on for so long that are holding us back. Okay. So to really change what's going on subconsciously, it requires self-awareness, meditation, and self-reflection and being deliberate with what it is that we want and using our emotions to our advantage, not disadvantage. You think about why it is that we buy certain products and services. We buy them because of how it makes us feel. We base our decisions and our thoughts and actions because of how it makes us feel. Tony Robbins talks a lot about this, where we make decisions based on minimizing pain and maximizing pleasure. Now, this could be a double edged sword because sometimes we make decisions that may give us temporary pleasure, but give us long term pain. A very good example of this is that maybe we spend a lot of money on buying material goods that we can't afford. We buy that really nice car, we buy the nice watch, or the nice house that maybe temporarily makes us feel great, but long term gives us pain because we can't afford those things. Okay. So, and also I think it's using our emotions to our advantage where we use our emotions to cultivate a emotional belief and joy and positivity, knowing that what we want is possible and that it's in fact it's already in the present moment now. To begin acting as if what you want is already here. That dream life, being the person you've always wanted to be, is already in the present moment and it is possible. It's about possibility. That's really the biggest thing I talk about in all my lectures here at Teaching University. It's about possibility. There's a lot more to life than what we see simply with our senses. But to change, it requires going within and realizing there's a lot more to life happening behind the scenes, especially within our own minds. And we must become aware of that if we are to change. So nobody ever died of discomfort, yet living in the name of comfort has killed more ideas, more opportunities, more actions, and more growth than everything else combined. Comfort kills. If your goal in life is to be comfortable, I guarantee two things. First, you will never be rich. Second, you'll never be happy. Happiness doesn't come from living a lukewarm life, always wondering what could have been. Happiness comes as a result of being in our natural state of growth and living up to our fullest potential. Growth can be painful. And if we are to change, if we are to achieve vast riches, material, spiritual, and personal relationships, riches in all aspects of our lives, it requires getting uncomfortable. Because what ends up happening, all of us have habits. Every day we wake up in the morning, wake up on the same side of the bed, do the same routine, brush our teeth, take a shower, drink the same cup of coffee from the same mug, take the same route to work, so on and so forth. You see where I'm getting at? We do the same thing every single day and we get comfortable. But it's this comfort that leads us to doing the same thoughts and actions and behaviors every day that give us the same typical results. So if we are to change our results financially, and this is another thing that I've noticed a lot of very successful entrepreneurs have, is they're willing to get uncomfortable. They're willing to do what is necessary. So to analyze the latter part of the end of this quote, happiness comes as a result of being in our natural state of growth and living up to our fullest potential. It's about flow here. Happiness comes not from being still, but by being actively engaged and getting the game. It's time to get in the game. And money is a game. I think that's one of the ways you want to look at this. Money is a game. And once you treat money as a game, life changes significantly for you. And then you start to see that perhaps it is not as difficult to earn more money once you realize that money is a game. And I think, and I've noticed a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, view it that way, that money can be a game if you know how to play it. Something to ponder. Money is extremely important in the areas in which it works, and extremely unimportant in the areas in which it doesn't. And although love may make the world go round, it sure doesn't pay for the building of any hospitals, churches, or homes. It doesn't also doesn't feed anybody. Really interesting excerpt here. So money is extremely important in the areas in which it works, and extremely unimportant in the areas in which it doesn't. So money is not the end all or be all of life. Okay. Money isn't everything. Of course, I think that there's a lot of truth to that. But we must be honest with ourselves that money is important and we can't ignore it and we can't neglect it. Okay. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to feed ourselves and our families. We have to provide. We are material creatures living in a material world. Okay. And there's certain things that we need. And money can provide us those things. Money is a tool, as I said before. Money can provide us more opportunities. It can provide us more creature comforts. It just opens up a whole lot of doors. And again, I think T.R. Becker is really right here when he says that love may make the world go round. It sure doesn't pay for the building of any hospitals, churches, or homes. It also doesn't feed anybody. So making more money is important. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money if we want to do it legally, in an ethical way, in that it helps provide us growth, not just financially, but also within ourselves. And it really makes us more valuable contributors to society and our communities. Okay, so money is important. We got to be honest with ourselves about that. And wanting to make more of it is a good thing, not a bad thing. Because as we all know, we need money to survive and to thrive and to navigate this world that we live in today, whether we like it or not. So the lesson is simple. If you want to move to a higher level of life, you have to be willing to let go of some of your old ways of thinking and being and adopt new ones. The results will eventually speak for themselves. So the sacrifice that we want to make is sacrificing and eliminating these self-limiting beliefs that have held us down for so long. Again, going back to David Hawkins in his book, Letting Go. It's letting go of the old and becoming what it is that we have always wanted to be, to move to a higher level or plane of life, to think above and beyond our old self limiting beliefs. We must adopt new ways of thinking. This could be uncomfortable at first, and this takes time to cultivate, but if doing this enough times, being willing to put in the work can yield magnificent results. So, if we want to create abundance in our lives, we must be willing to let go of some of the old ways of thinking that have held us back for a long time. Again, self awareness, being aware that these thoughts and limiting beliefs have been holding us down. In the end, the only way to earn what you're really worth is to get paid based on your results. Once again, my dad said it best. You'll never get rich working on straight salary for someone else. If you're going to get a job, make sure you get paid on percentage. Otherwise, go work for yourself. Okay. You are paid based on the value that you can provide to society. So if you want to make more money, think about how you can create more value, whether at your current role or even starting a business or product, thinking about what do consumers want in a specific industry that you're trying to get into? What kind of products do they buy? Most importantly, again, referring back to Gary Vaynerchuk, uh, where he talks about the importance of knowing how it is that people consume products and how do they make these purchasing decisions, especially on social media for that matter. How do you grab their attention? Okay. Understanding these things will make your job much more easier in being an entrepreneur or earning more money at your job. It's being able to provide more value. How you can do that. Take inventory of what you're good at. Not so much what your passions are, but what are you good at? And how can you create value with your skills in the marketplace? And by doing that, I think can automatically help you increase your net income and cash flow, even at your current job or by starting a business. So to conclude, this is actually from Thomas J. Stanley for the Millionaire Next Door. Wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income each year and spend it all, you're not getting wealthier. You're just living high. Wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. It's making the most of what you have right now. It's taking what a percentage of what you make, even if it's just a few $100s, and putting it away in an investment fund, in savings, investing it. Okay. It's not spending money on things that don't really matter that much to you. These things are important. Okay. Because you can make all the money in the world, you can make a substantial income. Again, I know a lot of folks like this. They make a lot of money, but they spend it all. Okay. I've met folks like this in the past. So it's ultimately about trying to take a percentage of what you make and putting it away. Okay. And I think that this is something why, like the fire movement, for example, has become so popular and important, I think, in a lot of ways, because it's about really taking inventory of what you're spending money on. And do you really need these things? Okay. And when you do that and you start to question the things you spend money on, you're automatically going to spend less money. You have more money in your pocket you can put away and invest. But while at the same time, stressing the importance of increasing your cash flow so that you can afford to make better financial decisions. Because if you're not making a whole lot of money, if you're making barely above minimum wage, then it becomes harder to afford to make better financial decisions because of the cost of living, especially we've seen with inflation lately. Okay. So it's a combination of not spending all your money, okay, putting away what you do make, percentage of it, but also trying to make more money, increase your cash flow. And I think if you do that, then you can make better financial decisions that will pay off down the road. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can watch all my lectures on personal development, entrepreneurship, and all this good content I've created for you in the past couple of years that I think will be very insightful for you. So thank you so much and have a great day. Thanks.